Good morning, everyone. I manage three components of the conference program. This includes the Global Village, the Youth Program, and the Workshops Program. And I'll speak to these briefly today. To begin, the Global Village, it's a very, some of you may know, it's a very diverse and vibrant space within the conference. Some people call it the heart of the conference. It's a space where community gathers from all over the world to meet and learn from each other. It's a space to demonstrate the application of science and good leadership. And it's a space that shows visitors how science translates into community action. We're very excited this year as we've had more than 1,000 applications for activities in the Global Village. This is more than any other international AIDS conference. And we accept, only 280 activities were accepted, so it gives you some indication of the competitiveness. Activities inside the Global Village will include debates, presentations, networking zones on specific themes and regions. We've got NGO booths, performances, film screenings, and art exhibits. It's basically one big hive of activity spread throughout 11,000 square meters of space. I think an important thing to remember about the Global Village is that, unlike other parts of the conference, it's open to the general public as well as delegates, and admission is free. So it's a really excellent way to for the conference to connect with the host city. Like the Global Village, the youth program has become a core part of the conference program. The aim of the youth program is to strengthen the participation of young people at the conference and the visibility of youth issues. We have a very strong group of youth, of young stakeholders who want to be seen and heard at the conference. And we're working hard to make sure the conference is used to mobilize and empower networks of young people worldwide. The youth program activities include presentations, debates, and workshops. Excuse me. Most of these will take place in the youth pavilion inside of the Global Village. And there will be a youth pre-conference in the days leading up to the AIDS 2012. And this will provide a whole host of training opportunities, as well as to help prepare young people for navigating the International AIDS Conference. Lastly, I'd like to speak briefly about the suite of professional development workshops which will be available to delegates during the conference. The program will feature 60 workshops which will focus on science, community, leadership and accountability development. The workshop program is aimed at increasing the capacity of delegates to implement effective, evidence-informed policies and interventions in their respective communities. The workshops are pitched at different levels to accommodate people who are new to the field or mid-career, or who've been working in HIV for years and are looking for fresh approaches to their response to the epidemic. We've also received a record number of workshop submissions for this year, a 16% increase compared to AIDS 2010. And after an intensive and challenging selection process, the workshop program promises to be better than ever. I should say that more information on the Global Village youth programs and workshop programs is available online, but content information will be available early June. I want to finish by acknowledging the very excellent work of the team who are based in DC. As you can imagine, pulling an event of this size together is no easy feat, and it's very much a team effort, and they're great to work with. Thank you. I'll pass you over now to Amy Israel, who is also a program development manager at the Conference Secretariat.
Thank you, Andrea. So my role is to walk you through the conference program and what makes up the program, how it's built, and what you can expect to see when you're at the conference and virtually during and after the conference. So the program is 6 full days of chock full of content and things going on at the same time. We start each day with a plenary session. That's the only thing going on at the start of the day. We have everyone together in a room to hear the leaders in the field speak on various topics. We then move into concurrent sessions. At any given time, there could be up to 10 sessions running simultaneously. And those are all divided in 3 main areas: science, community, and leadership and accountability. The program content is designed by our 3 program committees, also with the same name: Science, Community, and Leadership and Accountability, as well as our overall governing body, which is the Conference Coordinating Committee. We have a division between abstract-driven content and our invited speaker content. So this, I see some people having a hard time seeing this, but briefly, what this means is that we have submission-based content that's scientific in nature, and we have design content for symposia sessions, bridging sessions which cross the 3 programmatic areas, regional sessions which highlight what's going on in 10 different regions around the world. We have special sessions also, which are lunchtime sessions with high-level leaders or focusing on hot topics, and plenary sessions. Those are our invited content. And we have abstract-driven sessions, which are submission-based. Thank you. So this one you can just keep going through. Yep. Thank you. Good. So all of our invited sessions, we will announce many of the high-level speakers. As Bertrand mentioned in our next press release in June, we're lining all of the people up in a row and getting final confirmations. But it proves to be an exciting program, both in terms of who's going to be speaking, but also on what they're going to be speaking about. Bertrand had mentioned the hubs, the 2 hubs. We want to make sure that people who are part of a key affected population who are not necessarily able to obtain a visa or do not feel comfortable with applying are still linked into the program. So we will have pre-recorded, we're still figuring out how to do it technically, but we're going to have some connections with those hubs in the main program. So there will be some presentations that are either video recorded or a live feed, so that we make sure that all the voices are still at the table. All of the content for the program will be online on 8th of June. What can you find in the program at a glance, or PAG as we call it, is a daily schedule. You'll be able to look for certain abstracts, look for certain sessions, look for topics. You'll also see all of our affiliated events and what's going on in the Global Village. What happens during the conference, for those who are not able to attend, is that many of the sessions are recorded and they'll be posted on this program at a glance. So people will be able to access many of the presentations as well as all of the abstracts that give consent during the conference, with a little bit of time delay, but it's a pretty exciting time to see what keeps popping up on the program at a glance each day. Finally, we have a scholarship program, which applications were open until mid-February. We received over 10,000 applications, and we currently have around 900, though this says 800. We have 900 scholarship recipients from around the world. We want to make sure that the conference is accessible to people from various backgrounds, which is why we also have the program at a glance online for people to access who can't come. But we do also support people to join us at the conference through the scholarship program. That offers registration, travel, accommodation, and a modest daily living allowance for them to attend. All of our scholarship applications were reviewed by a committee, and priority was given to those whose participation will help enhance their work in their own communities, and also those who are able to transfer skills to others to pass on the information learned and the skills learned at the conference. And finally, the abstract submission period is over for the regular submissions. We still have one remaining submission open, which is late breaker abstracts. So people who are finding new results that weren't found yet by the February 15th deadline for the main submission are still able to submit groundbreaking research proposals for up until the 22nd of May. And then the conference happens from the 22nd to the 27th, and we hope that many of you and your organizations will be able to join us. So thank you.
Sorry, I take the mic again. I'd like to just add 2 points. The first one is that probably for those who haven't been to the conference before, from what you've heard, you've guessed that this conference is not your average medical or scientific only conference, and that we try to stick to one of the big strong points of the fight against AIDS, that's inclusiveness, and we try to make the conference as inclusive as possible. And if you go to the conference for the first time, or if you hear of the conference for the first time, you may be surprised to hear a lot of discussions and even controversies on a lot of topics, just because we try to mix different backgrounds, different kind of people, and we try to have the conference as powerful as possible from those diverse backgrounds mixing together in the same place. So inclusiveness of the conference and of the program is one important point that I wanted to make. The second one is that you've seen in Anouk's presentation that so far not so far, but we'll have about 10% media delegates, about 2,000 out of 20,000. That's a lot, and that's very good for us, because one of the objectives of the conference, as I told you, is to bring attention to political leaders, decision makers on HIV/AIDS issues and challenges, but also bring attention of the general public to HIV/AIDS. It's a hard job, because a few people feel like we've been talking about HIV for 30 years now and it's enough. We don't have that feeling, so we really need your help in making sure that we can spread updated information on what's going on with HIV/AIDS in the world globally, but also locally in the place where you stand. So media representation at the conference and media coverage during and after the conference to bring attention to the general public is very important to us, and that links directly to what our communications manager, Sean Bowen, will talk to you about now. Thanks.
So I guess wanted to update you on some of the more specific details to help journalists. Media registration is free, but we do advise journalists to apply as soon as possible because, as we mentioned, you have to get a visa. And because it's recommended that you get an I visa, this can take a little bit longer in the process than the standard ESTA visa. So if you have any more questions about that, please let us know. The venue for the Media Centre is a state-of-the-art facility with all broadcast radio facilities. We have a host broadcaster, which is Eurovision. So if any of you are a member and use their facilities, you'll be able to download all the material that they shoot at the conference, which will be available through their portals and their facilities. We also have other online partners, especially if you're covering this remotely, which is the Kaiser Family Foundation, NAM, and CCO. All of their information is also on our website, and they will be providing material through webcasts and web material including footage of the sessions, and it's a good way to follow it remotely. And we can give you more information on that as well. And we will also be providing highlights each day of the conference as a downloadable news update that journalists can also get. So all this information just come to us for the technical details, and we can give you those. One final point is that we're doing a media training, which has been hosted by the Voice of America, which is taking place on the Saturday and Sunday just before the conference. And you can also watch this through a live webcast. So we'll be putting those details on our website. It will be a training about how to get the best out of the conference, how to navigate it as a journalist, and cover what you need, because it can be quite daunting to have so many sessions. So half of the training will be about how to get the best out of it, and the other half will maybe be for journalists who haven't been as involved in HIV reporting before, and will be an update on trends, terminology, etc. So that will be taking part in the second half of the training. That'll all be on our media center area of the website, along with all the other information that could help a journalist in following our conference. And if it's not there, just let us know, we'll get it for you.